Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to another video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about Manchester City. Now, I feel like a lot of people have been overlooking City this season, mainly because of obviously what's been happening with Manchester United and of course with Arsenal, and especially when it comes to the Premier League title race, obviously with Arsenal leading the way. Arsenal have been taking a lot of the plaudits and obviously the praise because of obviously how unexpectedly they've performed this season in terms of obviously getting this far. I spoke about City a little bit. I did a video earlier this week talking about the title race, and I don't think I spoke about City enough and maybe what City's future might hold for them. So this is going to be the video where I do exactly that. I'm going to be talking about Manchester City's season so far and where they may go in the future and how strongly they may be, because let's face it, they are still going strong despite being in what I believe to be a bit of a transition period. They're slowly and surely evolving, and they're only going to get stronger in my opinion. And Wednesday's game against Leipzig, and I know it's against Leipzig, and I know they're the kind of stepping stone club of the Bundesliga, but they're still a pretty good club, pretty strong club. With Haaland scoring 5, City smashing them by 7. I wanted to kind of get this video out there, and of course, I know it's a few days removed from that, but it's just the way that I've decided to kind of put this video out there. Before we get into talking about Haaland, Manchester City, and everything else that's to do with Manchester City, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's talk City. Let's talk Manchester City. Let's talk Manchester City. Interesting stuff going ahead this season, and it might not all be that great for City this season. Let's face it, there is a possibility, however small or however unlikely it may be looking forward, that maybe, just maybe, Manchester City might finish trophyless this season. I still believe that Arsenal will win the Premier League, so that could still be a strong possibility, and if that is the case, that will obviously put an end to City's possible treble, triple, whatever you want to call it, free on the bounce Premier League title triumphs, or whatever you want to call it. The FA Cup is still very much up for grabs for them. I think the only real concern for them would be obviously Manchester United, a team that they've already lost to this season, but also already beaten. So that could be interesting to see if those two have a bit of a showdown going forward, if they obviously make it beyond the next round of that competition. And then of course there's the Champions League, which obviously City will be wanting more so than others, and with the goal scoring machine of Erling Haaland up front, you'd put them as pretty strong favourites, and with the squad they already have as well, but even more so now that they have Haaland, they've put them as pretty strong favourites to maybe, just maybe, finally win that competition this season going forward. But what if they don't? What if City fail and collapse in all 3 of those competitions that are still left to play for? It could make things very interesting. Now, obviously there's been a lot going on at City this season. I think they weren't expecting the title chasing Arsenal to be their strong contenders this season. Obviously the off the pitch stuff in terms of the Premier League, trying to put together a case of City cheating in the past, I don't think has helped them. But in recent games, it seems to have kind of unified the squad a little bit more. There was obviously the João Cancelo stuff as well. He seemed to be a bit of a growing negative influence on that team, shall we say. He's obviously been removed by Pep Guardiola, and Guardiola now seems to have got this squad together, and they seem to be all on the same page right now, it seems. And it seems that City are slowly but surely shifting through the gears to try and chase Arsenal down as we hit the run-in to the end of the campaign. Now, of course, as I said earlier, and as I stated in the previous video, and obviously as things stand right now, City are 5 points away of Arsenal in second place. The interesting thing for me this season has been that Guardiola has obviously tried this changeover, this turnover at this club, and has still managed to keep them going strong. Not to their strongest of ability. I think City in previous years, when obviously Liverpool have been chasing them, have been stronger, in my opinion, in terms of their depth and everything. And obviously, I think that City have dropped a few more points this season that they would have won in previous seasons had they had a stronger sense of depth. And I know that's mad of me saying that because obviously it's Manchester City and they've got tons of money to spend. But I think getting rid of the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling in particular might have seen them win the kind of games that they've dropped points in this season. And what I mean by that is the likes of Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus in previous years might have come on from the subs bench and made a real difference in the games that they obviously have dropped points in this season, to a point where City might be better off in previous campaigns at this stage of the season than they are right now. So it has been interesting to see this bit of a changeover. It was interesting at the beginning of the season when obviously there was a little bit of an overhaul of the squad, so to speak. The likes of Zinchenko and Jesus leaving for Arsenal, Sterling leaving for Chelsea, and maybe one or two other players as well leaving as well. Was kind of a bit of a surprise that so many would leave. City have never really been ones to stand in the way of players that want to leave, and obviously Guardiola is a big fan of changeover and trying to keep things fresh and trying not to make things turn stale, and it's a bit ruthless in that aspect, but I guess that ruthlessness has paid off in the long run, that they are in strong contention to obviously win a few major honours this season. And it could be all three, it could be just two of them, could be the one. Unlikely to, but possibly could be nothing. So that has been interesting to obviously watch unfold, and obviously bringing in an absolute Norwegian goal-scoring beast of a machine in Erling Haaland obviously has sort of comforted them kind of blows a little bit. But we're only scratching the surface, I believe, with Erling Haaland and Manchester City. It's obvious to say, but they are obviously going to get stronger together as a unit and obviously as a team. We're only scratching the surface of Erling Haaland, in my opinion. Like I say, full credit to Guardiola and what he's managed to build with this squad over the years and how he's managed to change this squad. And of course, it's going to change anyway, regardless of what happens. If they win nothing, that's going to be even scarier because they're going to throw even more money at this summer. And, you know, when you look at the players that they might sign, you know, the defender Guardiola, if he comes in, that only strengthens their defence. A future of Guardiola and Akanji, maybe Man City's future centre-back pairing. Laporte seems to be on his way out. They'll probably go and look for maybe there's going to be a new fullback that's going to come through. They'll probably look at a new right-back, unless obviously they have full confidence and full faith in the youngster that's coming through, whose name escapes me and I can't remember. Maybe they might start looking at maybe a Kevin De Bruyne replacement. He is getting on. He is 31 years of age, which obviously doesn't sound too big for the kind of role and the kind of quality that he displays on a weekly basis. But even his performances haven't been as Kevin De Bruyne-like as this season, and you're starting to see that his minutes, particularly in recent weeks, have been dwindling even a little bit. So maybe there is a cause for maybe some change there, or maybe look towards more of the future there. Not to say that they'll get rid of him, but just say that maybe they'll start looking at more of a long-term replacement to sort of bleed and bed into that kind of role. You might be looking at also another winger to come in. Riyad Mahrez is getting on a bit. Obviously Foden's coming in on the left-hand side. You've still got Jack Grealish that's in and around. His future might be interesting as well. There's a lot to be looked at and intrigued by at Manchester City in terms of personnel, in terms of the squad, how the squad will change going forward, and especially, like I say, if they don't win anything this season, there's going to be a whole lot of questions going to be asked. And I think that question to me is going a little bit under the radar right now. And I think that will continue to go a little bit under the radar until obviously something does materialise in those competitions. But it is scary how good Erling Haaland has been. Like, I think we all kind of expected it. But even then, he still kind of exceeded expectations in my opinion. Like, he's only a few goals away from breaking the Premier League goal-scoring record in a single season. He's still scoring goals at will in other competitions. He's spearheading Manchester City towards the Premier League title, or a title challenge. He's spearheading them in the Champions League. He's spearheading them wherever he's going. And to me, we're only scratching the surface of what Haaland can do in this team. Like I say, the overhaul and the change of squad is going to be one thing. If Haaland can bed in with those players that they bring in and they build around Haaland, and Haaland still adapts his game, and I will elaborate on what I mean by that a little bit, it's going to be scary for the future of the Premier League, the Champions League, and for how Guardiola himself can evolve as a manager and how he will evolve this team. Now, what I mean by how Haaland can adapt his game for the better is there have been times this season where I've watched Manchester City and I see Haaland make these runs, or look to make these runs in behind, or he looks to make these runs by bending his run and going through, and he just ghosts into these incredible areas. And we know about Haaland. We know that his finishing is absolutely lethal, and his positioning and his intelligence and his awareness is just off the charts good. It's something that you can't necessarily teach. It's just a killer instinct, whether it be his shooting or his positional awareness. It is phenomenal to watch. But sometimes he makes these runs where he'll make the same run over and over again but won't be found. And I feel like he could add more goals to his tally if his teammates found them. The issue that I think he's got is I don't think the players that are around him sometimes, with obviously the exception of maybe like a Kevin De Bruyne, don't have the creative quality or the vision to find those passes. If he adapts his game more to understand the strengths and weaknesses of his teammates around him, he might be able to score more goals. So, for example, Kevin De Bruyne might be able to find a pass over the top in which he can use his electric and explosive pace just to leave the defender for dead and go on goal. A Gundogan or a Bernardo Silva might not have that same level of passing ability. So maybe he's got to adapt his game, maybe to pull out to the wing a little bit in order to free up some space, or maybe he's got to drop a little bit deeper and use his physical presence to hold up play and bring others into play. There was a lot of things that... There were just a few things like that, because I think Thierry Henry said it. I think if you can find the clip, Thierry Henry said it much better than what I did. He alluded to that kind of thing where when he was playing for the Arsenal Invincibles, he understood the players that were around him, what they could do and what they couldn't do, and he adapted his game to their benefit in order to benefit the entirety of the team. Haaland, if he does the same thing, will only benefit the team more, and it could also benefit him more in terms of where he can then be on the pitch to score goals. It sounds me dumb giving him that sort of my opinion on that kind of thing when obviously he's scoring 5 goals in a Champions League knockout game and he's already got 27 goals or something this season. But at the same time, I think it will only get better, and that's where I think he can take his game to the next level by doing that kind of thing. And I think that's where Guardiola and Haaland will see each other going in the near future. That is just how scary that can become as a player and as a team. And like I say, I think the spine of that team gets better. I think obviously the spine of that team gets better in terms of the attacking sense. Haaland becomes a much more evolved player and becomes an even better player. I think Kevin De Bruyne will start to take bit more of a backseat role, maybe get more of a younger player in there to start to slowly bleed in over the next year or two, and then the centre back in terms of maybe bringing in Guardiola, having him pair up with Akanji, who I think's been a great signing, by the way. I think Akanji's been really good. I mean, I haven't watched every Manchester City game, admittedly, but the games I do have where Akanji has played, he's been pretty solid, and I think he's been very consistent, and I think that's going a little bit under the radar as well. I also think, like I say, a fullback is maybe needed. Obviously, it seems that Cancelo, although he's not necessarily seemingly enjoying his time at Bayern Munich right now, may have burnt one too many bridges at Manchester City to come back to that squad and act like nothing ever happened. So that's going to be interesting to see. The left back problems always been there for City a little bit, but they kind of plug it a little bit. That's going to be interesting to see how that develops as well. Goalkeeper wise, Ederson is okay. I still think he's a bit overrated, but he seems okay. But I think that City will continue to turn over, to evolve, and to get better. And like I say, full credit to Pep Guardiola for transitioning as the season's going ahead and still managing to spearhead a title challenge as well as an FA Cup and Champions League challenge all at the same time. I know it sounds easy when he's got all the money in the world to make that happen, and I know it sounds easy to be like, well, this player doesn't want to play for Man City no more, so let him go. We'll just bring in another player because we have the finances and the funds to do so. I know it sounds easy, but having them all gel together and work together is obviously making it adds another layer of difficulty to that. Man City have done that. Pep Guardiola's done that. And like I say, when you've got a goal-scoring machine in Erling Haaland up front playing for you, in which he can still adapt his game to make it even better and scarier than what it is right now, City are going to be terrifying in the future. But those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on Manchester City going forward of this guy. I don't know what you guys think. What do you make of Man City going forward? What do you make of Erling Haaland going forward? Can he become even better than what he is displaying right now? What do you make of Guardiola's sort of mini evolution of his team, this sort of transition period of Man City in which they're adapting their style and their play to suit more of a player like Haaland? And what do you make of the kind of changes that might happen in the future? Do you see City bulking up their midfield in terms of maybe bleeding in someone to take the role of a Kevin De Bruyne? Do you think the Guardiola signing is going to happen this summer, and will he partner Akanji for a long-term centre-back partnership? Will they get in a new fullback? What are your own thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on Haaland, Guardiola, the transition of this season, and of course, whether or not City will get a trophy this season? Because that could be interesting as well. No trophy makes City just as scary, in my opinion, as City with 1, 2 or 3 of the trophies that are still up for grabs for them. I'd love to know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on this particular topic down below in the comment section, because I'm sure it'll make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the right if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always incredibly greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you all again soon in another video.